clinical case has an ethical component that stems from probably initial decision making that leads to shortcuts. So, what we have found just in the last several years of building programs and working with licensees is that there is always an ethical component. Even when the cases that we are working with have a heavy clinical component where one would think, oh, this is a clinical issue, it oftentimes or almost all the time stems from an initial ethical issue. And the ethical issue, if I were to use a word that kind of sums up what we see, is shortcuts. Every case that is a clinical case has an ethical component that stems from probably initial decision making that leads to shortcuts that leads to the clinical components. Everything we see, we find has got at least a little bit of an ethical component. So we do build ethics into the core structure of what we do with licensees. And it's often one of the first things that we do with them before we even touch on the clinical component. We do the assessments with EBAS to gauge where they are in their ethical decision making, because it helps guide us build those clinical components of our program.